Hello, everybody. That's CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana. I'd love for you to all come see us. And yeah, we'll take good care of you. So, I've been thinking a lot about the Municipal Auditorium. Now, the Municipal Auditorium, I made a video about going to see Alice Cooper this coming May, and it's going to play at the Municipal Auditorium. And Alice Cooper is great, but a big part of it is the show of um, the Municipal Auditorium. As you may have seen in that last Elvis movie that they made about Elvis, titled Elvis. Um, Austin Butler played Elvis, did great. But they showed him playing at the Municipal Auditorium, but of course, that was just a venue that it was not the Municipal Auditorium. I'll tell you that. They didn't come all the way here and just do a scene. It would have been cool if they had. We used to do movies here. As a matter of fact, between myself and the municipal, right behind, right outside our grounds is the movie studio where they used to film movies, and then right across from that is a, a park, and just on the other side of that park is the municipal auditorium. And so it's great. I'm gonna go see it this May, and Alice Cooper will be there. But uh, yeah, Elvis played there with some of the greats. KWKH uh, aired the Louisiana Hayride, which was kind of like a our Grand Ole Opry, and it actually was as important in the time. Uh, in during that time in the 50s, it was as important as the Grand Ole Opry, and these radio receivers they could get picked up far away. Linda Ronstadt writes about it in her book, Within the Sound of My Voice, whereas she was a young girl and they lived close to the Mexican border and in America, by the way, but they had powerful radio signals just in just over the Mexican border, and they could pick up the stations from far away, and so they could hear the KWKH sound and everything. So that was great. Um, but KWKH doesn't do country music anymore. It's still around, but they do, um, talk radio, sports, and things like that. Every time I hear it, they're doing sports. But someone else who played there was Hank Williams. And so when I was a kid, it was like I didn't really get Hank Williams music. I thought it was country, and I don't know, it wasn't rock and roll cool. I have since come to find an appreciation for Hank Williams and the fact that there's no difference between old country and punk, except for a dialect and accent. But the chords are the same, the way the people play the chords. The rhythms are the same. Maybe there's a speed up in punk rock that gets a little uh, faster and everything like that. But old country, they're known to shake it up a little bit too, and it's not that far cry. It's not a far cry from rock and roll. Um, some of the intonations and everything, and I think it's because they're all influenced by generations of music that came before it. But yeah, but Hank Williams, I've come to understand basically if he were today a young up and comer, he would be considered almost a punk rocker. So uh, I'm gonna do one of his songs. I'm gonna do it badly though because I don't really do it well, and so I don't even know the song. I'm literally looking at the words and chords, and uh, let's see. Mm, Sometimes they give strumming patterns, which I end up ignoring anyway. Uh, yeah. Real simple chords though. I'm playing on a 12 string. I just tuned this thing by myself. I used uh, a tuner, a tuning app, and I actually tuned each string, and I did it myself. The The high end strings, I couldn't find the chord labels, but I could get the hertz, where the sound, where the frequency of the sound, and so I tuned by frequency. First, I tuned the low end. See these low end strings, which they're high geographically, they're closest to the sky, but low end because they are um, in tone, they sound deeper and lower on a musical scale. Uh, that's why this is string number one and this is string number six, even though this is closer to my head. But anyway, so actually, this would be string number 12. Yeah. Okay, so, but I do it in pairs, the way I think of stuff. My mind is weird. But I was able to get this imperfect tune, and it was great. If the wife and I are fussing, brother, that's alright. Call me and that's me, woman. Got a license to fly. Why don't you mind your own business? Mind your own business. If you mind your own business, then you won't be mine. That's terrible. Like I said, I don't really know the song. If you're living in a party life, wait. Oh, the woman on a party license. Aha, I can't. Here, let me move it over so I can read it. Also, too, I'm trying to read through bifocals. I think I'm just going to start over. But the song, obviously, is called Mind Your Own Business. It's E's and A's, man, with the occasional B7. If the wife and I pleasant, brother, that's alright. Call me and that's the woman's got a license to fly. Why don't you mind your own business? Mind your own business. If you mind your own business, then you won't be mine. If the woman on the party line, wait, oh, the woman on the party line, so it's terrible. I'm starting over. I'm terrible. Okay, if I mess up, I'm just going to go all the way through it. If the wife and I fussing, brother, that's alright. Call me and ask me, woman's got a license to fly. Why don't you mind your own business? Mind your own business. But if you mind your own business, then you won't be mine. I had a scroll. Oh, the woman on the party line's the nosiest thing. She picks up her receiver when she knows it's my ring. Why don't you mind your own business? Mind your own business. But if you mind your own business, then you won't be mine. Look at a sour chord here and there. I got a little girl who has a hair up high, and boys all whistle when she walks by. Why don't you mind your own business? Mind your own business. But if you mind your own business, then you won't be minding mine. If I wanna honky tonk till 2 or 3, that's my headache. Don't you worry about me. Why don't you mind your own business? Mind your own business. If you mind your own business, then you won't be mine. Minding other people's business seems to be a high tone. I got all I can do, just minding my own. Why don't you mind your own business? Mind your own business. If you mind your own business, then you won't be mine. Why don't you mind your own business? Mind your own business. If you mind your own business, then you stay busy all the time. I don't know, man. I do think, listening to some early Hank Williams, it's like he didn't have great vocals, and he could only play like just the basic chords, and I don't even uh, play well or sing well or anything like that. But I do think today the styling of it, in the absence of a country label, just raw raw material that he had, just raw material, and his songwriting was very clever for its day. I do think he would have been, uh, that punk rock vein. Because, like I said before in other videos, that punk rock and country music, they all come from the same spot. They come from the barnyards, the rural barnyards and areas, and it was just people without musical inclination or without musical lesson. I guess they had the inclination, but without proper tutelage, just coming together, maybe reading some manuals, maybe showing each other, hey, this chord shape or that, but they didn't really read music. And what they do was they would get together and they would just like work out some rhythms, and then they would just go play. And then, in the absence of a recording studio, when you play live, it's like the timing gets off and everything like that, and it gives that great sound that really in America came out of the. I don't know if we invented uh, the term punk, because there's a lot of that came out of England and London's West End also, but that kind of coincided with with the rise of punk out of the CBGB era of you know, but of you know that whole thing. There's a CBGB. There's a movie about it called CBGB. I would check it out. Also, it's great. Alan Rickman was great in that. Um, yeah, I just think all this music comes from like the same place, and it just speaks to the generation of the it speaks to the audience of its time. So some of it may be a little timely, like this thing talks about a party line. Though now, since everybody's got a cell phone, or everybody, you know what I mean, it's um, party lines are kind of a thing of a past. If you don't know what party line is, um, but we had one in the house. Um, my dad we had like uh, the phone line, but what would happen is it would ring once for my dad, and it would ring twice if it was for either myself or my sister. So and then so you would see it listed in the phone book as sometimes the children's line, the main house and the children's line or whatever, and that's kind of cool. Um, but before then, it's what would happen is because in the most rural of areas, um, where telephone poles were kind of rare. Basically, it's like you'd have like a couple of houses or lands or whatever in near vicinity, and they'd be sharing like uh, like one line, and it would splinter. It would go to and it would splinter off and connect to all the houses, but the signal is like um, like you'd share the line, like it's because they didn't have operators and machines and stuff. They didn't have as many telephone operators too, so it was a way to make use of the technology so that you would share the phone line. Like it'd be like having a house and you're like, hey, let me get the on the landlines. You could say, hey, let me get on the phone in the other room, and like you'd have like three or four people talking on the same phone line. Well, so it early on they would do that in houses, like in uh, like maybe my house here would have the phone line, and then the house next door would be on the same phone line, and another house over, and that's called a party line, where you have two or three different parties sharing the same phone line, and then according to whichever ring you would get, uh, you would know that it was your conversation that they wanted to speak to, someone in your house or something. And so that's the thing about the woman on the party line's the nosiest thing. She picks up her receiver when she knows it's my ring, so she's not minding her own business. She might, and so that's what that's kind of cool. So even though some of the lyrics from the 50s or whatever would be dated, um, and maybe could be updated, you know, some of these old songs are great. And and I mentioned Linda Ronstadt before. She came out of the she came up and coming in the California uh, folk scene at the Troubadour, and but basically kind of pulled together. I don't know if she invented the genre, but she certainly popularized it. And uh, the phrase country rock was uh, mostly associated with her more than anyone else. And then maybe Crystal Gale from the countryside of it, but later in the 70s, you know. But you know, who was Loretta Lynn's youngest sister? If you guys don't know, she was famous mostly not so much for her voice, which she was great for that, but she really was famous for that really long hair that went all the way from the top of your head all the way down to the floor or whatever. So, you know who else had that was Nicolette Larson. You know, she did that song. It's gonna take a lot of love to get us through the night. You know that she covered it from. She was dating Neil Young. He actually wrote that song. So, yeah, all this kind of stuff. I love classic music, uh, and I think it's really great that someone as awesome as Alice Cooper and some other people would want to play, and they'll honor the history of the venue that allows for the municipal auditorium, because that it was it's so one the acoustics in there are so perfect, uh, even without all the big blasting speakers and stuff that I know that we're going to get from a hard rock concert, you know, guitar rock and everything from Alice Cooper. And his stage show is very theatric and awesome. But yeah, even just, yeah, the acoustics in that place are wonderful. Um, okay, so I think I'm done, like, chatting with myself for right now, making a video for you guys. Let's see, do I want to do any more songs? Uh, I don't know. Uh, I that's the thing. I haven't really been practicing, so I don't really perform with other people. Most of the time when I have people come over, um, you know, for music and everything like that, it's so that they can sit around and they can play, and I'm busy playing host, so it's like I don't really get to sit and play with them and talk with them and work out a dialogue. And most of the people that I know, it'll be my nephew, my other friend Paul, some other people that I know, I mean, they are so far advanced in their playing, and they're, you know, so it's like, well, they can talk and they can communicate and they can work out rhythms and they can play with each other, and I don't. I'm so untalented compared to most of them, but I do get to do this and entertain myself. So let's see, Hank Williams. I'm doing. Oh, what's that one he did? Um, ooh, uh, here we go. Aha. Also, very simple chords here. Very simple chords, and I'm pretty sure, literally, it's the same damn chords. Today I passed you on the street, and my heart fell at your feet. I can't help it if I'm still in love with you. Somebody else stood by your side, and you look so satisfied. I can't help it if I'm still funny story, and it's true. A long time ago, we had like a talent contest, and I actually uh, was one of the winners of the talent contest. Of course, I just sang this song like a cappella, and I didn't even play an instrument. Back then, I wouldn't have known how. I wouldn't have known chords or anything like that. But yeah, it was like, and of course, it was like, you know, a very different styling. It was very, but if I'm not playing, I can really do better with my vocals. And I don't even know if it sounds how this sounds with me playing, because the playing sounds loud here, and then my voice, it almost sounds like the guitar is drumming out my voice from my ear, but it may sound totally different when I play this back. But yeah, so I did this song, I Can't Help It If I'm Still in Love with You. And of course, I was able to really, really hear myself so I could hit the crescendos uh, and stay on more of a key, and I wasn't worried about, uh, I wasn't really worried about what key I was in. I just, because I didn't know anything about that music theory at all, what little bit I know, but I do know that I know the song, and so wherever I sang it in, and usually if I'm in front of people, my voice gets nervous, and so when I get nervous, I get, oh my God, I'm up here, and so like when I'm more calm, I'm more like this. But yeah, so yeah, I won. I won. Uh, I was one of two or three winners in a talent contest singing this song. I can't help it. And the twist is, it wasn't it was in the rehab ward of a mental health unit 20 years ago. But it's kind of like being being popular, sitting at the popular table in a mental ward, you know, literally. Um, so, but it was funny. I haven't, you know, uh, yeah, yeah. So anyway, I'm in recovery, 14 years now, so I don't do drugs. So, yay recovery! Woo. Um, I was, I think I was hanging out. I don't know if I made a video and told this story or not. It was the other day. I was uh, hanging out waiting for my ride, and this dude was like, "Hey, you're that famous guy," and I'm like, "There's someone famous?" Uh, I'd be like, "No, no, no, you." He meant me, and he was like, "No, but you're Shreveport famous. You're not like really famous. You're just Shreveport famous." And I'm like, "Well, um, I mean, I've been living in one space for a long time, and so people kind of know me like as a reputation. Maybe quirky, maybe I don't know how you don't know how people see you, or whatever. And I put different sides of myself out, and I kind of live publicly now. No secrets, no shame, no fear of looking ridiculous, and I'm working on my personality issues, trying to be uh, a decent and nice person and everything like that. And I don't know. I make little videos and I talk about my life, but in this dude's eye, I was someone who was famous. And then it clicked. He's like, "No, I know you from recovery. They went to a meeting or some time ago," and I was like, "Okay," and I didn't remember him. But then he was like, we would sit there for a minute, and there was another guy, and he was like playing some music while we were waiting for the rides and everything like that. And and he was like, he said, "Okay, boom, I got it. When you don't Now that you don't do drugs, what do you do for fun?" And I literally do. Like I told him, I said I literally do the exact same thing that I did that I thought was fun before. Everything that I thought was going to be fun, it actually is more fun now, because I'm actually living life and having some fun. I'm just not doing drugs, and I'm not. It's not because of a morality thing. It makes me a bad person to do drugs. It's just that I have this condition, addiction, which uh, I have this reaction to substances and drugs that makes me, well. There are people who can do that, and they can survive it. I can't. Every time I had tried, I have like shredded everything, you know. So, yeah, um, like anything that's good in life, you know, uh, sacrifice it and wreck it, uh, so I could get drugs, you know. And so I don't do that now. But yeah, basically, what do I do to have fun now that I'm not doing drugs? Anything that I want to. I hang out with friends. I hang out with people. It's COVID, we had to all be low key, but I was uh, way abstinent from drugs and in recovery before that happened, and that's good, you know, because I don't know if early on I would have been able to really hang on with that. I didn't mean to turn this into a meeting. I'm sorry. I'll stop talking about it. But yeah, anything that I want to do. I have friends that I hang out with. If I want to go to the little bar up the street, I'll go sit and have like Coke Zero and listen to music and have some random conversations. I go to meetings, uh, and those meetings involve campouts and conventions and covered dishes and all that kind of good stuff. I had built a circle of people that I talk to all the time. I'm going out with some of those people this weekend, you know, uh, and a group of us get together and we love to go uh, to concerts, rock concerts. That's something that you can't afford when you're an addict, uh, unless you're just rich. But if you're just a person, you know, of meager financial status, you know, you say, hey, I have to make a choice between rock concert or rock of crack or whatever it is. I don't know. I just threw that out there. I didn't do. Not that it matters. Not that it matters. I didn't. I didn't really get with that. I didn't. It's like, it's, boy, what a terribly uneconomic drug. If you're gonna do drugs, don't do crack. 'Cause, I mean, do you want to be high for 5 seconds? You know, I mean, it's like you get a really really awesome charge out of it, and then it's like, okay, well, now what? Yeah, at least if you're gonna do something that will last you, you know, a few hours to preferably a few days. I actually prefer not doing drugs. So that's really what I would recommend. If someone wanted to know my advice, which drug is best, no drug is best. Because you actually then can invest your recreational time and money into doing things that are freaking fucking awesome. Because, you know, yeah. But you can't like lecture people or anything like that. You just talk about your point of view on these things. But people are going to have to figure out and do what they do and find their own way and their own lessons and everything. But it starts out a party, then it starts out being not a party. I'm talking about drug use. Starts out being a party, then it starts out being uh, maybe a pastime. Then it starts out being uh, a lifestyle, and then it ends up being a crutch, and then it ends up being a vice that you can't get out of, unless you're one of the lucky ones who find their way to recovery. And I really am going to shut up now. I love you guys. Keep on rocking. Love and light. Good night.